This is Stygian Tiger, reading Philosophy of the Gator by IndiBrony. Chapter 2. Conflict and the Gator. What is conflict? To understand conflict, we must first understand the definition of the word. Conflict has two clear meanings. First, when it's used as a verb, it describes an incompatibility between two or more parties. Alternatively, when the noun is used, it describes anything involving an ongoing struggle, be it with one's own feelings or all-out war. So it's fair to say that conflict, by definition, covers a wide variety of things. Regardless of the situation, one consistency is that it places one or more parties into a position of distress, and each and every conflict desires a satisfactory resolution. How that resolution comes about can be determined in any number of ways, which can impact those involved either positively, negatively, or neutrally. Talking, fighting, or even ignoring the conflict, for example, can all serve to put an end to a conflict. Each have the benefits, and each have the drawbacks, but very few conflicts are ever left truly unresolved. The very nature of conflicts can be conflicting. We live in a world in which we desire harmony. Nobody truly wants to fight each other, do they? To that I say, in a sense, they do. In fact, I believe that conflict can make us happy. That we often strive for conflict. Think about it. In the stories you read, in the shows you enjoy, they almost all repeat the same process. The protagonist's life is at peace until it's shaken by a conflict, and the story advances until a satisfactory resolution has been reached. We enjoy this, but why? The simplest answer would be knowledge. Each time we face a conflict, we're thrust into a situation where we have an opportunity to learn and grow. The desired outcome is an increased knowledge of how the world works, and that knowledge is satisfying to the mind. But it could even have more primal matters in mind. It is satisfying for many creatures to know that they are the most powerful in their group. Being the alpha and coming out on top in a conflict can reinforce that fact. We face conflict on a constant basis, often without even noticing it. Things which happen before our eyes that we respond to without question or pause. A lot of these responses we learn from experience, and any time we face a new challenge, we learn how to deal with that too. But there's many challenges that require a lot more thought. So what do you do when you find yourself in a situation where conflict leads to further conflict? How do you break the cycle? Ignoring a problem can negatively impact the lives of many, but showing love and kindness can often seem to fall on deaf ears. Responding with violence, it only encourages more backlash. I dislike conflict where the resolution ends in suffering. I have, through experience, learned that there are cases where suffering cannot be avoided. Whether it's a fight for equal rights, land, or merely survival, when you invoke conflict between two or more large groups, blood is almost always guaranteed to be spilled. It's an unfortunate fact of life. Steps can be taken to avoid such things happening, but often things can spiral out of control as one or more parties attempts to resolve the conflict through the easiest means, as opposed to making a morally righteous decision. These types of conflicts will almost certainly escalate to a point where it cannot escalate further before it's resolved. Pain ends when one party loses the will to continue. But is there a point to it? Will we ever learn from past mistakes, or is history doomed to repeat itself? Will we ever live in true harmony? Or will conflict be ever present in our lives? How do we avoid needless conflict? And how do we use the lessons we learn to better ourselves? Do we absorb the knowledge given to us in these situations? Or do we shut out knowledge in favour of our own worldview? Can every problem be handled peacefully? Or are there cases where even pacifists must take arms? The next time you find yourself in a conflict, will you choose to do what's right or what's easy? Do you try and resolve things peacefully or violently? Each action affects those around you. Think carefully. Think rationally. Most importantly, you must think about how others will respond to your decision. Will your actions truly resolve the conflict, or merely lead to more trouble? I sincerely hope we can all find the strength inside of us to do what is right when faced with difficult situations, and do what we can to bring peace and harmony to the world. Once again, I'm Gummy. Thanks for listening.